We've come for a walk, and whilst we were having a walk I thought I'd come and check out what's going on at the plot. And the answer is nothing. Because it's winter and it's cold and it's covered in ice. And the broad beans are doing well there. Shall I show you those? See? There's still some patchy germination, but I'm not worried about that. I think we've got plenty of broad bean plants there. They're looking nice and healthy. So I didn't really have anything to talk about necessarily today. But I'm just going to walk around and have a chat, basically. At the moment, I mean, if you followed our channel for any amount of time, then you probably know that we home educate. And in that, we basically let Roo take the lead, so she chooses what subject she wants to cover and kind of the formats that we do it in. Sometimes that can bring up some interesting subjects. So she's at the moment, she's very, very interested in space, but not just from a kind of planets and all that perspective. She's very much interested in different life forms on different planets, and is there a possibility of finding another Earth? So this naturally progresses on to why do we need another Earth? And then we started talking about climate change. And then things got a bit tearful. So I don't know if I'm going to put this video up. This is a kind of personal rant that I've got no adults around today to talk to about this, so I'm talking to you. We've had some interesting discussions about climate change, and to be honest, it's really upset Roo. Not because we've given too much information, not because we've scared her, but because she's a sensitive soul and she wants to heal the planet and she wants to heal Mother Nature, and I get that, I totally get that. But she's been asking questions like, how do we fix it? Can we fix it? Is it all going to be okay? And I wish I could say yes. I really do. We've been having lots of chats about plastic and why plastic is bad, so to say. And she came out with, why did we ever invent it? Why do we use this? How can we get rid of it? I would smash it all up and get rid of it. And of course that isn't an answer, is it? The truth is we need plastics. Or do we? I don't know. As a family, we try to be very conscious about the plastics that we use. We try to, if we're going to buy plastic, we try to buy plastic that isn't single use. We try to think consciously about what we do and how that will impact on the world. First of all, Roo, if you remember, does a pretty good Flash impression, don't you, darling?
Yep.
So you're going to do it for us now? Which way are you going to run, Flash? That way? That way. Hey, Flash.
Hey.
So also today, Roo decided you're going to have another superpower, didn't you? What was it?
Power of nature.
The power of nature. And you want to heal the planet, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Can I go in invisibility? Can I do invisibility?
Ta-da! Power of invisibility. High five, Missy. Boom!
Ta-da!
And random teleportation. You're getting good at this, Missy.
It's magic, alright?
It's magic. So as part of all of this, we've had some very in-depth, interesting conversations. Hey little horsey, you going past? Things like why Daddy cycles to work. Why we are moving towards growing heirloom variety seeds so that they are open pollinated and we can save the seed from those, keeping those alive. Why old skills are important. Why we only use the car over a weekend, and when we do it's usually to go and pick up something free, because we'd rather wait for something to come up for free or cheap that we can recycle and save from going to the landfill than go out and buy it. And that's not just because we're skin. I mean, we're not rich, don't get me wrong, but that's what we'd rather do. Lots of interesting conversations. And I think they're important to have with kids. I do. We've talked through all kinds of impacts on climate change. We've also talked about the fact that the Earth goes through these cycles where things will naturally happen. But what we've talked about mostly is the impact of the human race on the planet and how that is speeding everything up. It's hard to tell your child that the polar ice caps are melting. It's hard to tell them about deforestation and why zoos do need these breeding projects to look after animals, as much as we may not necessarily agree with zoos. It's hard to tell her about unsustainable water sources being used around the world to grow fruit and vegetables that is then shipped to the other side of the world, only for a third of it to be thrown away. It's hard to tell her that most things that people consume end up in landfill, and they can stay there for hundreds, thousands maybe, of years, just because we have the desire to consume. And I'm not saying this saying, oh, we don't do that, we're not perfect. I mean, plastic house. I worry about the planet that we're leaving behind for our children and their children and maybe their children. It concerns me. It's my responsibility to educate her. It's my responsibility to give her facts. She's not the kind of child that you can fob off with information. She will just ask more questions until she gets the answers that she wants, which I applaud. I do. But out of all this, there has to be positives. So we've had some very in-depth conversations about how we can not necessarily always turn back time and resolve these issues, but what can we do on our day-to-day lives that can help, and the things that we already do and why we do them. She knows that we don't buy anything new unless we have to. She knows that we recycle anything. If we're getting rid of anything, we see if somebody else wants it first. She knows that we grow our own fruit and vegetables, and this is because, other than health reasons, we don't want our food shipped in from all around the world. We want to be responsible for the food that we grow. We want to be responsible for our impact on the planet, bringing that down as little as possible. We want to know that we are growing as organically as possible. So we've talked about how having our own chickens, that helps. We've talked about not using plastic bags. We've talked about little projects that children around the world are doing. We've talked about nets that are being put over drainage covers to catch any plastic that comes out through the drainage systems. We've talked about all sorts, and we don't want it to be a negative, but we have to take responsibility for her education and for the planet. Part of our goal for this year was to help kids get more into gardening. And I think alongside that, I want to teach Roo more about self-sustainability and our impact on the planet, and how what we do can help that. I had loads of things that were running around in my head that I thought, if I'm going to talk about this, even if it's just to camera to get it off my chest, that I would say, and I've probably said none of it, and I think probably I'll get some backlash for if I put this up, for saying things that I've said. I honestly, I don't know. I don't actually believe in bringing politics into videos at all. Some people grow vegetables because they like homegrown veg. Some people it's a hobby. Some people it's a way of reducing their impact on the planet. We all have our own reasons for doing it. For us, it's all of the above. And if it helps Roo to feel like she's saving Mother Nature a little bit, then that's good, and I'm all for that. And like I said, I wish I could tell her it was going to be okay, but I can't. But what I can say is that we can make a little bit of a difference every day. So I hope this hasn't been too much of a waffle. I hope it made some sense. But journeys for home education, facing up to reality sometimes is tough. The truth hurts. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.